What's poppin', you guys? You guys thought I was joking the community post? Yes, sir. It's New Year, new me. Your dog, Trigger Studios. Even though I'm more used to going by my second channel named The Black Lorac. Today, just like I've been talking about lately in my posts, I'll be starting my first What If video in series. Me officially making the switch from just making sprite fights, but not sprite animation entirely. You'll see how I hopefully edit some of these in the future. I've been low-key getting into what ifs for at least a year now because of my little brother putting me onto them. And, remembering the fact I make fictional characters box as a hobby, so it's not that far away from that. So with the grind mindset I've been blessed with and a list of ideas I created with my boy Stardust, and add the little embarrassing fact that before Trigger Studios, before the Black Loracs, my name was Dark Sonic X. Yucky, bruh. It's freaking cringe just hearing about it. Pre-working out name I used to have. Anyways, I decided to start making these videos myself, and with the bonus of having some custom fire art included, like you guys been seeing in these past thumbnails and in my second channel, it's time. But I'll talk more about the plan at the end of the video. Anyways, enough of the bibber babble. This is part 1 to What If Dark Sonic was canon, and I hope you enjoy my first attempt.
Oh, brother!
Is this nigga serious?
Actually starting our story, the first change I'm making is Sonic will slightly have more affinity for chaos energy in this timeline, aka the reason why he's able to go super so easily all the time. This will be implemented at the end of Sonic 1, where after Sonic beats Robotnik at his original scheme and returns back to Green Hill Zone, the 6 at the time known Chaos Emeralds start to disperse, with the gemstones bringing back the nature to the zone, and almost like a token of thanks for helping recover them from harm, the Chaos Emeralds seem to give our main character a little bit of their energy before they fly away and have to be recovered in another adventure. Not really understanding the feeling of a slight power increase he now has, and to be honest, too free-spirited to care, especially having better things to worry about like the likely chance that the evil Robotnik is still around. Sonic would still follow where the wind takes him, basically everything leading back to being the same in this timeline, just like in the original for a while. The only major difference is that every obstacle he faces this time in both Sonic CD and 2 is able to be handled slightly easier. Arriving at Little Planet, finding the time stones, even the iconic Sonic vs Metal Sonic race in Stardust Speedway is run with better ease, which baffles the devious Doctor, who built Metal Sonic to literally match everything he saw in the Hedgehog during the previous adventure, but clearly he couldn't factor in the blessing of mystical gems into his equation. Even in Emerald Hill Zone, after meeting and befriending Tails, the new duo would be able to fetch 6 Chaos Emeralds easier at this time throughout the special zone, with Tails not only being more impressed and admiring this version of Sonic because of his slightly better feats, but even brings up the hypothesis that Sonic is some sort of alpha version of a Chaos Emerald radar, with how he's been able to slightly sense the energy of the Chaos Emerald. Sonic, taking the praise, tells his best friend it's nothing that he understands himself, but whatever the Chaos Emeralds did to him made him be able to sense them kind of. Maybe it has to do with that weird feeling when he let the Chaos Emeralds go the first time, almost like a tingling in the back. All of this banter while not knowing that there's one more they need in their collection. Now fast forwarding our story a little bit to the grand showdown in the Death Egg between Sonic and the Death Egg robot, where even with his slight boost of chaos energy here, Sonic would be unable to win this battle. Robotnik has adapted to the events on Little Planet, and Sonic's speed is just not enough to break through the defenses of this new gigantic contraption. This leads to the eventual rise and need of more power. The last 7th Chaos Emerald has embedded it into the control panel of the ship, being used as a battery this whole time. The extended amount of time spent in such terrible conditions has almost tinted, grayed out the color of the emerald strangely. Regardless, it violently escapes, ruining the wiring panel as it too joins its brethren in powering up the newly dubbed Super Sonic, appearing as he does originally, with it basically becoming a no-diff fight as not only the robot but the Death Egg entirely proceeds to get dismantled by our powered up hero. But right here is where I'm adding one last change to this timeline. Robotnik, inside a barely functioning machine and with pure desperation on the mind, is actually able to get one lucky hit on Supersonic by pure chance, where with the Hedgehog's hard landing, finds himself surrounded with the radioactive remains of wiring and capsules of chaos energy that Robotnik has created, almost kinda mirroring the beginning of Sonic Unleashed, where Sonic was caught up in the extractor machine. The abundance of chaos energy and electricity from machinery created with such evil purposes makes Sonic yell in extreme agony as a chaotic reaction occurs within his body, as the once positive energy turns negative, with all types of sparks flying all over the place, with our protagonist enduring pain he's never felt before. Perplexed by the situation but not gonna let his chance to escape go free, the good doctor crawls out of his broken creation and prepares to dip off, prepared for any chance to escape like always. After just stepping one foot into his getaway pod, a terrifying presence that he's never felt before emerges. Looking at the smoky heap, he sees a silhouette of Sonic standing there menacingly. But even with the smoke blocking most of his view, he could swear that the eyes of the Hedgehog looked different than before, almost circle-like. Evil cackling emits from the being, making slow steps towards him, but before any more questions can be asked, the death egg finally combusts. Plummeting down to the globe, Robotnik barely entering the capsule as a mysterious floating island in the sky becomes the spaceship's runway, while a familiar yellow to blue streak of light falls towards the opposite direction. Hours, days, either or, I've definitely been in the same spot for too long. Immediately, Sonic wakes up to find Tails by his side back on the heights of Hilltop Zone inside of a crater nevertheless. Tails jumps excitedly, knowing his hero's okay, stammering, "I spent the whole day looking for you on the tornado," asking tons of questions like what exactly happened up in space, why were there 4 Chaos Emeralds with him darkened a bit, and was Robotnik able to get away this time? Instantly, like a flip of a switch, Sonic stands up stiffly, like the mere mention of Robotnik's name triggered an automatic response. This shocks Tails, not getting a good feeling from this unusual mood switch that now befitted the Hedgehog, and the sudden darkening of his fur. Sonic turns around to face Tails, calming down as soon as he flared up upon seeing his worried look, Tails' body language being the definition of hesitation. With a tone of confusion and calm, Sonic truthfully tells the Fox that he doesn't remember much after the Chaos Emeralds surrounded him with cool power that he never felt before. To beat down the Doctor's worst creation yet, the power felt super, but Robotnik. The Doctor did something to him. His gut feeling was telling him the rest of the emeralds were definitely in his conniving hand. With urgency, he insists that he'll tell Tails the rest on the way. They needed to chase down the villain as soon as possible, so in quick pace the pair collect the Chaos Emeralds and embark in the skies just like in canon to reach the crash site of their opposition, Angel Island, in the next day. With the changes in this timeline and without actually having all of the emeralds, Sonic doesn't just blaze onto the island by himself this time. The duo actually land the tornado properly onto the island, Tails immediately taking note of the luscious environment upon getting out, while Sonic, just like back in Sonic 2, can somewhat sense the other emeralds that are definitely in the other zones. Possibly something even bigger. Now knowing everything he can about the situation, Tails prepares to follow Sonic in high-end speeds to explore the upcoming zones and be of use this time. Looking ahead though, Sonic shows signs of slight hesitation, speeding up, almost jogging with caution. Tails being surprised by this out-of-nature move, knowing Sonic loved running in any environment as long as water wasn't involved. His scientific mind urging him later to use this occasion to study the emeralds more closely and really find out how chaos energy really works. Boosting ahead, Tails decides to emulate the same confidence that inspired him in the first place, passing Sonic in his current speed in the hopes of sparking his usual attitude back, which works as intended, Sonic never wanting to lose a race. Glad to see the change in his best buddy since their first meeting, his smile returning with the "Alright Tails, we'll find that raw egg faster than he can see us." Unbeknownst to them, there's one more factor they will need to worry about. As soon as Sonic was about to pass Tails in distance, bang! A red echidna from the depths of the ground punches Tails out of the sky, and with it having the same amount of power that kicked the Super out of Supersonic, it isn't surprised to say that he lands down, KO'd, slumped unconscious. Outraged, Sonic dashes to his body, crouching to see if his fox friend is okay, while the new challenger quickly grabs all the scattered Chaos Emeralds for safekeeping. He then faces the direction of our protagonist, righteously growling that his name was Knuckles. Knuckles the Echidna, the guardian of everything on this island. And it looks like the tip from his new ally was correct in predicting these two treacherous villains would come to this island seeking power that wasn't theirs. Barking that especially he would make sure they didn't come close to the Master Emerald. So telling the Hedgehog he should take his warrior grace and friend out of his home before he's met with the same fate. None of this is on Sonic's mind though, seeing his friend passed out right in front of him when he should have been the one leading, this crazy knucklehead from who knows where, and especially Robotnik. It triggers something sinister. Somewhere in his mind a door is opened. By who? It doesn't matter, as Sonic goes through the doorway regardless. Sonic begins to stand up as a malevolent dark aura surrounds him. Darkening of his skin tone occurs, and the most noticeable, the irises of his eyes disappear. Turning around chuckling, "Warrior's grace? I'll show you a real warrior." All of this just confirms Knuckles' original assumption. Taking a fighting stance, but bam! Finds himself with a shoe in his chest, with speed at least 5 times faster than original, as multiple kicks spray his body. Knuckles looks to respond but can't. Like a violent tornado, the new persona, Dark Sonic, circles the Echidna, floating him up in the air before spin dash slamming him right back into the same hole that he came from. Seeking power? Do I look like I need your power? Sonic quips back. Knuckles, being unable to comprehend the situation, slowly peers out the hole he was just embedded in, wanting to show this dark being how much fight he really has in him, but remembering the fact he has an ally, he bides his time and uses this opportunity to burrow out the encounter with his first-hand knowledge of the island. Later on, we see a construction facility, newly named Launch Base Zone, as the damaged Echidna walks into a nearby housing licking his wounds. That villain, I believe you now. He's just as destructive as you said, Doctor. How could someone so cocky have such a large affinity to chaos energy? Whatever you're planning, best believe I'll be down to aid you now. Glad you see things through my perspective, my red friend. Robotnik turns around with the 3 other darkened Chaos Emeralds as he hollers that with his bronze and his brains, they'll be unstoppable, thinking to himself secretly that with his new creation just about ready on the back burner, the mystery behind this chaos energy is right in his grasp, leaving off with the Doctor smiling, getting wider, as this is where I'll be leaving the story for right now.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
Yeah, first what if video ever is now complete. All I gotta say is dang man, these junks are harder to make. Watching these and making them yourself is a completely different experience. I'm too used to goofing off in my game review channel when it comes to scripts. Now I gotta tee up and actually make a convincing story instead of just jokes about Luigi and Bowser. As you guys saw throughout the video, hopefully if past me didn't change his mind. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna see if I can drop these every week, probably a little bit more than that honestly, because I gotta juggle school, Arduino, my terrible investing, and my Bible grind, which isn't all easy to do. Plan is to mostly do Dragon Ball and Sonic what ifs on this channel, and occasionally bring in a series from another category from this huge Google Doc list between me and my fellow Zoe Stardust. Help give me a little bit of feedback since he likes to write a lot as a hobby, and actually organize my junk into paragraphs instead of the walls of text I was out here typing. But yeah man, I've been getting tired of these file glitches and menial returns for animating for months for a while now, so the What If arc begins. And with me being inspired by the Yonkos of What Ifs that should be showing right here, and with an artist to boot, it's time to go crazy. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully some of you guys stick around to watch these, and if not, I don't blame you. I still appreciate the support you guys giving me up to now. It's time to switch to a niche, I can actually be more consistent with, and get paid. I'll be actually planning to make that whole Patreon channel membership stuff that everyone else be doing, because I did say I was gonna do it after Goofy Owl Sprites, but I was too lazy. And speaking of Goofy Owl Sprites, hey, I don't know when it's coming back. You know, some of the squad is busy. Stardust making money, Cool making money, and I'm making none. Whenever we can, and if at least 2 out of the 3 people get their motivation back, and it fits in everyone's schedule, we'll see if we can make it. But enough of the yap. Appreciate the view. Comment your thoughts and criticisms so a Haitian like me can improve. And hey, if you don't got anything to say, just comment algorithm view, just like they be doing in the other What If channels, to help a brother in Christ out to get this recommended stuff. Check out my second channel if you're more into goofy game reviews, where I show more of my personality. I'm out. Have a blessed day. I'm gonna leave y'all guys with the same Bible verse, Adult Swim Bump combo I be doing on my second channel. We started 2025 off right.